Greetings once again. I'm Stan Hustad, and we welcome you back to a little tale, a little tip that can help you build your business. We're helping you to discover increasingly what does it take, what it takes to build a business, be able to market your business, market yourself, take it to the next level, whatever that means. And the next level is, how can I have a greater life? How can I enjoy life? And how can I feel the pleasure as I do my life? And perhaps how can I make a little more money from time to time? Maybe even more than a little, and more of the time. I'm going to teach you a little secret today. You see, I've been around a lot. I'm not young. I've been a teacher. I've been a teacher broadcaster. I've been an international broadcaster and a business performance coach for many years. And I've learned a lot about how people do things well and how people learn to do what it takes. And I've also experienced, along with many of them, what happens when you don't do what you should do and when you don't have what it takes. I'd simply like to tell you a secret, and that is that everybody is wearing what I call a secret sign. That means everybody. Your children are wearing it, your colleagues are wearing it, your customers, your clients are wearing it, people out in the marketplace who you might like to have as clients and customers, they're all wearing a sign. It's invisible. It's a secret sign. Well, so what I've done is I've kind of taken, and we're just going to prepare this as being a little bit invisible, and I'm going to put it over my shiny head, and I'm going to hold it right here, and you can assume that, you know, I'm always wearing it, whether you see it or not. Okay? Here it is. This sign tells you to do something. And most people never do it. They don't even know that people are wearing this sign. And sometimes if they know it, they forget to read it. And then, even more so, they forget to do it. You want to know what the sign is? Let me make it very clear to you. Here it is. Please tell me I am important. That's right. Everybody, from the person who is maybe perhaps checking you out at the grocery store, the person who is pumping gasoline, if you're fortunate enough to find a place where they still do that, to the person waiting your table, to the secretary or receptionist where you're making a call, they are all wearing this sign. And then if you happen to meet the business owner, the business leader, even the CEO, his sign might be a little fancier than the one that most of us carry, but the sign says the same thing. Please tell me I'm important. So why don't we do that? Now, some of you are saying, well, I try to be nice to people. I didn't say just be nice to people. I said make them feel important. And most of the things that we have been taught in the business world go against that sign. I'm sorry, but they do. And you are perhaps, like me, you are doing some of them right now. Now think about this, if you're having a problem with this idea. What is the traditional way that we have been given sales training? Well, here's the one that I was first taught many, many years ago, and many of you can relate to it. Some of you have been taught it right now. You're trying to get an appointment, so you somehow get a name and you get a lead or whatever the case might be. You call this person up and you say, "Hi, my name is Stan," and you give your name and you say, "I represent whoever you represent, and I do this, and so-and-so hopefully suggested that I call you, or I got this name, or I'm just simply know that you're perhaps a person who could benefit from what I do, and I'd like 20 minutes of your time to sit down with you and tell you a little bit about what I do, and perhaps see if there's a match in what you need and what I can do." Would Wednesday work? Would Friday work? Get the appointment. You all know that. Okay, let's say you were fortunate enough to do that. And that's really hard to do. In today's world, for a person to give you 20 minutes of their time, knowing that there's going to be a sales call, perhaps, why would they do that? Well, it's hard to do that. And now, of course, with some of the rules and regulations about cold calling people and soliciting people who don't want to be solicited, and the fact that many people simply have voicemail, all of those sales techniques that were actually developed in the 1950s and before don't work quite as well. However, we're still trying to do them. Some of us do them well, but the majority of people do them poorly, and that's why so many people fail in sales. Well, let's say you got that, and you show up, and here's what you do. You introduce yourself, you bring out your stuff, and you say, just 20 minutes, and I'd like to show you a little bit about what I do, and what my company can do, and what we have to offer. Got it? Stop. I want you to think about me taking that same idea and going back a number of years ago when I met this cute little girl. She was kind of little for me, I thought, but she was cute. Her name was Karen. And Karen was the sister of one of my friends. It was her older brother and I were good buddies. And when I one time went to his house, I met his little sister. And it just so happened that I kind of liked her. As I said, she was cute. And I called her up and I said, "Hi, I'm Stan, remember you?" "Oh," and I suggested, maybe we could go out. And she said, "That'd be great. I'd like to do that." So I'm really excited. And so I pick her up at the dormitory at the university, and I take her out to a nice little Italian restaurant. And I've got enough money for that. Didn't cost a great deal, but it still was a little bit of a treat for me. What if I take her and then we get to the table, and the first thing I do is I say, "Karen, I'm really, really glad that we could get together. I'd like to spend the next 20 minutes, half hour talking about me." How's that going to go? Well, right now you're kind of laughing. Well, I'm going to make it even more ridiculous. Let's say I actually did that, and she was kind enough to let me get away with that. Now, after that somewhat relational disaster, but maybe a recovery, I'm taking her back to the dormitory at the university. And as I lead her up and make sure she's there, and first date, whether I'll get a kiss or not, I don't know, but it was nice, it was fun. And I simply say, "Karen, I really do like girls, and perhaps there's some other girls in the dormitory that you suggest that I call on, that I could ask out." Well, I'm supposed to ask for a referral. And that's exactly what I did. So I had a nice date, and now I'm seeing whether there's other girls, nice-looking girls, cute girls like Karen, that I could go with. A referral. Now, right now, those of you are shaking your head and saying, "This is the dumbest, stupidest thing I've ever heard." And you're absolutely right. And that's the way you've been taught to sell. Doing some of the dumbest and stupidest things ever. Because what you just did is you said, "This whole thing has been about me. I want to make some money, and I'm hoping that you will buy something from me so I can make that money. And then I want your help in getting me more money by giving me the names of family or friends or acquaintances that I can go and call on them too and get more money from them." You see, Karen, this whole thing is not about Karen. It's about Stan. Think about that. As I oftentimes said in my broadcasting throughout the late night, and I still do, just let that sit on your head for a while. That's what most people do. They don't read the sign. The sign says, "Please tell me I am important." Now, how do you do that? If I followed you around and watched you do business, would I notice that you are paying real close attention to that sign, or are you being a bit foolish by not even paying attention to the sign and not even doing what it says? Think about that. Here's what I'm hoping will happen. That you'll start to thinking about that and perhaps changing your behavior. But here's another principle that comes out of that. In fact, the principle comes from that. So it goes either way. Years ago, I was trying to put my career together after one of those career crashes, and I was listening to a gentleman named Earl Nightingale, who was a very powerful broadcaster, one of my heroes in the broadcast world, who then developed a series of talks and conversations and training records, cassettes, even back in those days, on personal development and business success. And I remember him saying this: please keep in mind that one of the key things you have to do if you want to be successful in life and business is you have to treat every person you meet as the most important person in the world. Treat every person you meet as the most important person in the world. Do you do that? A number of years ago, I was working with a small firm, and they had done very well. In fact, the President of the United States was coming to visit and speak in that town, and because this organization had quite a reputation, had gotten around, it was rumored that the President, on his way to the big convention hall, to the big speech, might just stop in and congratulate this little business that had made a reputation for themselves. Well, when they got that word, well, the President of the United States is going to come. Well, what did they do? They cleaned up the office. They got rid of all the junk. They made sure their desks were neat. Wow, did they go. And of course, on that day, they all came dressed really sharp. Boy, they were ready. The President didn't come. It didn't work out. The schedule collapsed. They were disappointed, but of course, that was always expected. That could have happened. However, it was a great learning point. I simply pointed out to them that, no, the President didn't come, but every day clients and customers come to this office. They are the ones who are really important. They are the ones who buy your products and services and pay the bills and pay your salary. Why would you treat them any different, and why would you dress any differently, and why would you prepare your stage any different than you would for the President of the United States, or the leader of the free world, or the leader of anything? Why don't you treat every person you meet as the most important person in the world? Why don't you read the sign, "Please tell me I'm important"? Make that a part of your sales, your marketing, and your business development strategy. What we do first of all is we read the secret sign, and we seek to do what it asks us to do. Please tell me I'm important. Did you get it? I hope so, because that's part of what it takes if you want to be successful in the world today. We'll see you around. I'm Stan Houston for What It Takes. Bye for now.